You came into this world as a god, yet from the instant you opened your eyes, a system began its work to ensure you would never remember that truth. They didn't need to physically restrain you. All they required was for you to forget your true identity. The control is subtle, not overt. It's woven into the rules you never questioned and the beliefs you accepted without skepticism, the aspirations they encouraged you to pursue. All of this is crafted to confine the limitless into something small, manageable, and compliant. However, deep down, there has always been a resonance, a pressure underlying your thoughts, a silent awareness that your existence is not as it appears, and that you are much more than what you've been led to believe. This video isn't intended to provide you with yet another philosophy. Instead, it aims to lift the veil and remind you of the truths you already possess but have been conditioned to forget. The deity within you is genuine, and now is the moment to awaken it. You didn't merely lose sight of your identity, you were conditioned to forget. Every institution you've ever relied on, education, media, religion, has never been impartial. It was carefully crafted for one sole objective: to keep your divine essence buried beneath layers of obedience, fear, and distraction. From the moment you could articulate thoughts, you were fed narratives, scripts dictating who you are, what is real, what is permissible, and what is deemed impossible. Stories about the world were handed to you that stunted your growth before you even had the chance to question their validity, and it was effective. Not due to your weakness, but because of your openness, your curiosity, taking in everything around you. They recognized that. From your earliest experiences in school, the programming commenced. It was termed education, but in reality, it was indoctrination disguised behind grades and accolades. You were groomed to sit quietly, raise your hand, and seek permission to express your own needs. They trained your body even before they reached your mind. And once your nervous system was conditioned into submission, they filled your mind with history revised by victors, with science that discounted the unseen, and with literature that celebrated conformity while mocking dissent. Recall the messages you received throughout your life. Follow the rules. Honor authority. Be practical, avoid questioning, don't aim too high in your dreams. These weren't merely benign guidelines, they were the very framework of your confinement. Even those who loved you most, your parents, teachers, they were unable to break free from the same system. They perpetuated this conditioning not out of ill will, but simply because it was what they understood. It's not their error, nor is it yours, yet it is your duty now. Because once you recognize it, the enchantment shatters. You begin to see that you've been living according to someone else's blueprint for life. You have worn garments that never suited you, pursued aspirations that weren't genuinely yours, and evaluated your value with standards established by outsiders. Throughout it all, a deeper part of you has been quietly insisting, "This isn't it. There's more to discover." That inner voice isn't mere fantasy. It's a callback to something fundamental. It's the age-old knowledge encoded within your DNA, awaiting reawakening. Long before established systems severed the connection with our essence, ancient cultures recognized this truth. The Egyptians spoke of Nata, not a distant deity, but a divine principle that pervades everything, including you. The Vedic sages referred to it as Atman, the self that is inseparable from Brahman, the infinite. These concepts were not mere myths, they served as guiding maps. However, the contemporary world has simplified them to mere metaphors or dismissed them as mystical thinking. Because if you were to remember your innate divinity, the entire control mechanism would crumble. This is why such knowledge isn't included in your educational syllabus. This is why mainstream media shies away from it. Because the moment individuals grasp their own power, they cease to engage in the game. They stop investing in the facade. They stop complying. Certain truths are deemed too significant to be shared openly. That's why we have established Insights Academy, a complimentary newsletter where we can delve into the realities we cannot address here. Sign up through the link in the description, and you will instantly receive a free copy of the Chameleon, available only for a limited time. Because here's the truth, you were not brought into this world just to pay bills and obey directives. You came into being imbued with divine essence. This isn't merely a catchy saying. It's rooted in physics and mysticism, corroborated across both spiritual and scientific realms. The notion that consciousness isn't merely something you possess, it's the essence of who you are. You aren't simply a being with a soul. Rather, you are the soul that inhabits a body, engaged in experiencing the material realm. When you shift your perspective to perceive yourself as a facet of the infinite, rather than as a consumer or citizen, everything transforms. However, mere awareness will not suffice. Recognizing it isn't the end. You must also unlearn all the conditioning that led you to believe otherwise. It's essential to dismantle the false personas and subtle compromises made simply to blend in and gain acceptance. This journey can be challenging. It isn't just affirmations of love and light. It's an inner battle against the distractions and noise of your mind. Yet this is the starting point. The instant you grasp that the system is designed not for your liberation, but for your containment, you realize that the path to freedom begins within you. If there's one aspect of your being they dread you fully grasping, it's your pineal gland. This small pinecone-shaped organ located centrally in your brain is far more than just another body part. It functions as a biological gateway. It was revered by ancient civilizations as the third eye, the seat of the soul, and the bridge between physical and spiritual realms. The Egyptians inscribed its imagery in their temples, while Eastern philosophies constructed entire systems aimed at its activation. René Descartes designated it the principal seat of the soul. Yet, in contemporary medicine, it's often dismissed and treated as inconsequential. Why is that? Because awakening this gland ignites your true self. An awakened self is uncontainable, and that's something they wish to prevent. Therefore, they target it methodically, through chemicals and subtle means. Just observe your surroundings. The prevalent substances in your environment weren't selected by chance. Fluoride in your water, glyphosate in your food, microplastics in your bloodstream, heavy metals in the air and the soil. All of it contributes to the larger narrative. All of these substances possess one alarming characteristic. They build up in the pineal gland and cause it to calcify. This is not merely a fringe belief. It has been documented, peer-reviewed, and validated, yet it remains largely overlooked. Recognizing it would mean accepting that there is a conflict regarding your perception, an engagement you never signed up for. This is a struggle that most individuals are unaware they are losing. The pineal gland plays a crucial role in melatonin production, yes, but that's merely scratching the surface. In states of spiritual activation, whether through deep meditation, altered consciousness, or breathwork, it functions on a much larger scale. It becomes a transceiver, connecting you to frequencies that transcend the physical. This is how mystics converse with what they refer to as the divine. It is how innovators tap into states of heightened intuition, deep understanding, and multidimensional awareness. When it becomes calcified, the consequences extend beyond just poor sleep. Your perception diminishes. You become disconnected from the signals that seek to reach you. The communication line between your ego and your essence becomes blurred with noise. And in that noise, the system flourishes. This is the reason they infuse fluoride into your toothpaste and promote it as beneficial for dental health. This is why convenience store food is engineered to be both addictive and unhealthy. This is why your surroundings are inundated with endocrine disruptors and neurotoxins. It's not solely a matter of health, it's fundamentally about consciousness. You might believe you're selecting a breakfast cereal, but you're being guided toward cognitive haze. You may think it's just a beverage, but it's yet another dose of energy suppression. Over time, you cease to question. You no longer recognize the patterns. You stop sensing the urge for something greater. That's how they triumph, through gradual, unseen sabotage. The irony remains that you still feel it. Even under layers of calcification, even amidst years of conditioning, there exists a whisper within you. You still experience fleeting moments, glimpses of that odd feeling that suggests you are destined for more. You're missing the broader perspective, as reality is more expansive, profound, and unusual than what you've been led to believe. That's your third eye striving to awaken. It's not extinguished, it's merely in a dormant state. The fact that it has been targeted with such precision and intensity is clear evidence of its true significance. Reclaiming it doesn't necessitate blind faith, it calls for deliberate intention. It begins with eliminating substances intended to obstruct it. From there, it progresses through practices that invigorate, purify, and rejuvenate it. Finally, it culminates in your realization that what you see with your physical eyes is just a tiny fragment of what truly exists. You are not confined to your five senses. You are not ensnared in a linear timeline. You are consciousness manifesting through a body, and the pineal gland serves as your receiver. Once this understanding dawns on you, everything transforms. Dreams turn into insights. Synchronicities become significant information. Intuition evolves into guidance rather than mere speculation. The haze begins to clear. For the first time, you start to perceive reality not just as it has been presented, but as it genuinely is, untamed, boundless, and vibrant. Psychedelics aren't needed to reach this state. What you require is clarity, detoxification, and discipline. Above all, you must desire the truth more than the comfort of ignorance. Because awakening is not an easy path, yet it's the sole way to avoid aimlessly drifting through someone else's narrative of life. The deeper you delve, the clearer it becomes. This extends beyond just the chemicals in your water or falsehoods in your literature. It encompasses much more than governments, corporations, or established institutions. There is a deeper reality at play, something ancient that doesn't wear a suit or hold an official position. You're not just navigating a flawed system, you're entrenched in a spiritual battleground. And most individuals remain oblivious to the conflict at hand. That's how effective the control is. Ancient Gnostic writings referenced entities known as archons, non-material beings that thrive on fear, chaos, and division. They are not the monsters of cinema. They aren't the classic villains you might envision. Their presence isn't overt. As they function through societal structures, thoughts, and emotions, you've sensed them. That inner voice that makes you question your own truth. That sudden anxiety that strikes when you attempt to speak your mind. That fear urging you to stay quiet, to minimize yourself, to conform. It doesn't always originate from within. This isn't mere superstition, it's about frequency. You've been taught that consciousness is merely the firing of neurons in your brain. However, consciousness isn't confined. It isn't a byproduct of your biology. It is, in fact, the essence. Much like a radio picking up interference, your mind can detect signals that do not belong to you. Entities with lower vibrations thrive on human emotions, especially on fear, shame, guilt, and division. Contrary to Hollywood portrayals, they aren't trying to take possession of you. Their aim is to keep you fragmented. When you disconnect from your divine essence, trapped in cycles of fear and over-analysis, you drain your energy. That's their sustenance. So, how do they maintain you in that condition? Through the frameworks that shape your existence. Media bombards your senses with tales of tragedy, conflict, and anger, not to inform, but to condition your mind toward chaos. Religion instills a fear of damnation, while claiming salvation awaits from an external deity. Education penalizes creativity and rewards rote memorization. These systems weren't merely taken over, they were deliberately designed as mechanisms of control, portals for energetic parasitism. Though the dark forces may not run the operations, they certainly shape the structure. They whisper into the ears of those in power, motivating the formulation of policies, institutions, and diversions that maintain humanity in a state of slumber. They don't desire a populace that meditates, breathes deeply, questions their reality, and reconnects with their divine essence. Instead, they prefer a reactive, fatigued, overstimulated population, too preoccupied with scrolling through feeds and stressing to recognize their own dwindling light. And perhaps you think this notion seems too extreme, too unconventional, or even overwhelming. Look around you for a moment. Why would nearly every facet of life be designed to fragment your awareness rather than enhance it? Why are substances that elevate consciousness prohibited while those that dull it are available on nearly every corner? Why have the most ancient symbols and practices that awaken consciousness faced ridicule, prohibition, or obscurity? It's because the truth is known. The instant you recognize who you truly are, you detach from their power grid. You cease leaking energy through fear. You transition from reaction to observation. And when you observe without succumbing to fear, the entire framework begins to dismantle. This is not a fight or a battle, as you've been conditioned to think. This is spiritual conflict, and awareness serves as the only effective weapon. Once you become aware, they lose their influence, leaving behind something they cannot reach, your presence. The archons are indeed real, but they achieve victories not through brute force, but through forgetfulness, distraction, and self-doubt. Their most significant triumph is persuading you of their non-existence while they maneuver through every fear you hold. Yet now you're able to recognize the pattern. Once you identify it, it cannot be unseen. This marks the beginning of your sovereignty. It's not about belief or rebellion, it's about seeing clearly and perceiving beyond the illusion without becoming ensnared in it. That clarity serves as your shield, your sword. It's what transforms you from a target into a transmitter, one that conveys truth rather than fear. They never needed to physically bind you. All they had to do was convince you that you were someone you are not. This is the most powerful method of control, an invisible cage where the imprisoned self-enforces their own limits. You were born as pure awareness, indefinable, limitless, formless. Yet, over time, layer by layer, they assigned you an identity. A name, a nationality, a gender, a faith, a personality, and you accepted it. Not out of ignorance, but because the conditioning began long before you even understood belief. They fashioned a facade around your inner brilliance and then instructed you to identify that facade as you. This persona isn't your fault, but acknowledging and questioning it is your obligation. Much of what you perceive as your true self is merely borrowed programming. You received acknowledgement for being accommodating. You were commended for your silence. You swiftly learned which aspects of yourself were deemed acceptable and which were to be buried in order to gain love, acceptance, and belonging. You modified yourself in order to survive, and ultimately, you forgot you were doing that. You ceased being your authentic self and began acting. The system thrives on performers. It flourishes when you equate compliance with virtue. When you mistakenly believe that your worth is tied to your output and spend your life pursuing identities that have no link to your true essence, such as student, employee, spouse, citizen, influencer, remember, these are merely roles, not realities. Their purpose exists within a construct designed to keep you focused outside yourself while feeling fractured within. The more you cling to the facade, the simpler it is for them to manipulate you. This is why challenging your identity can feel like a death. In a sense, it is. The constructed self resists being scrutinized. It desires to continue playing the game, seeking validation and dodging rejection. True awakening occurs when you shift from asking, "Who am I?" to inquiring, "What am I?" Because once you stop striving to be someone and begin recognizing the awareness that exists beyond that identity, the illusion begins to shatter. This is why the system promotes constant self-definition. Choose your labels, refine your profile, create your brand, craft a narrative, and reinforce it daily. It's merely a distraction. Because as long as you're engaged in the identity game, you're not addressing the only question that truly matters. Who is observing all of this? Who is the one existing beyond the roles, behind the thoughts, behind the feelings? That presence, still, silent, aware, that is you. And that's the you that the system cannot influence, as it operates outside the realms of fear, comparison, or survival. It simply exists. That presence, however, has been obscured by layers of performance. The more your persona is deep-rooted, the more energy it demands to sustain. This explains why numerous individuals feel drained without understanding the cause. It's not solely their job or time commitments, it's the exhausting effort of pretending to be someone else. Each social engagement morphs into a rehearsal. Every relationship turns into a balancing act of facades. Meanwhile, the essence of your being, unseen and unacknowledged, begins to fade into the backdrop, alive but forgotten. To reclaim your authentic self isn't about improving the mask. It involves discarding it entirely. It's not about striving for perfection, but rather about embracing authenticity. This process requires you to be vulnerable, unrefined, contradictory, and genuinely alive. It entails releasing the notion of who you believe you must be to receive love, and instead embracing the truth of who you really are. An infinite awareness experiencing life through a human lens. Not to shy away from existence, but to fully immerse yourself in it without illusion. You were never designed to conform to this system. That uneasy sensation you experience, that ongoing tension, isn't dysfunction. It's your inherent divinity resisting constraints. It's a signal that the roles you've assumed were never intended to encapsulate your essence. The truth doesn't require a label or approval. It needs only the freedom to exist. This recognition doesn't demand you to transcend the mundane, but rather to stop confusing the mask with the true self. Release the persona, and what remains is your enduring reality. Spiritual awakening starts not in the mind, but within the body. This may seem odd considering the conventional teachings on awakening emphasize transcendence toward thoughts and abstract concepts. Yet the reality is that your body is not separate from your consciousness. It embodies consciousness manifested into physical form, illuminated by light and energized by vitality. The system understands this, which is why it targets not just your intellect, but your physicality. If it can keep your body sluggish, inflamed, numb, and disconnected, they don't have to manage your thoughts. They've achieved victory before your initial thought even manifests. Reflect on this. You've been trained to see your body as merely a mechanical entity, an object you drag along each day, something to force, heal, scold, or adorn, but never as something sacred, never as wise, never as the vessel of divine potential. Yet, Every ancient spiritual wisdom recognized this truth. The body has never been a burden. It's a temple in both concept and reality. Every inhalation, every cell in your gut, every spark in your nervous system contributes to a living code intended for perception that transcends the five senses. They've invested centuries in teaching you to disregard this. Start with your gut. Your gut generates more neurotransmitters than your brain. It's your second brain that oversees your mood, energy levels, and spiritual receptiveness. Yet, it is under siege. Pesticides, processed foods, antibiotics, artificial preservatives, all crafted not only to annihilate gut flora, but also to impair your ability to feel clearly. If your gut is compromised, your mind becomes muddled. If your digestion is inflamed, your thoughts become erratic. They don't want you sharp, focused, and intuitive. They want you bloated, distracted, emotionally unstable, and they've designed the food system to ensure this. But it's not solely the food, it's also your water, air, and light. Tap water laced with endocrine disruptors, air permeated with industrial pollutants, artificial lighting that disrupts your circadian rhythm and drains your life essence. And throughout this, you're led to believe it's all normal. You're encouraged to adapt, to medicate, to caffeinate, and move on. And when your body begins to deteriorate, they provide pills instead of looking for fundamental solutions. They assign diagnosis after diagnosis, but never pose the crucial question, what are you nourishing in the instrument of your divinity? Because the system doesn't thrive on your clarity, it profits from your chaos. This is where the process of healing your body transcends being merely a wellness fad. It becomes an act of defiance. It's the bedrock for true awakening. Your consciousness cannot fully ascend while your body is overwhelmed with inflammation, toxicity, and fatigue. You can't forge a connection with the divine when your nervous system is merely trying to survive. You can't recall your identity when your cells are locked in a constant struggle against the toxins of contemporary existence. Freedom isn't just in the mind, it's in the very cells of your being. Every choice you make, whether in what you eat or how you breathe, is either nurturing your awakening or inhibiting it. The fundamental revelation here is that your body genuinely seeks to awaken. It's in a constant dialogue with you, consistently recalibrating, always progressing towards healing. If you give it even a fraction of a chance and start treating it like the intelligent, energetic being it is, everything transforms. Your thoughts clarify, your emotions stabilize, and your intuition sharpens, all of which is no coincidence. This is coherence, the alignment of your body, mind, and spirit into a singular field. It's the moment you cease living solely in your intellect and start living as your entire self. Awareness shifts from being an intellectual idea to your new normal. Most spiritual teachings overlook this aspect. They suggest you meditate your troubles away while still consuming foods that numb your senses and losing hours scrolling through screens, draining your dopamine. Awakening isn't something you can hack. You must live it. You need to experience it within your skin, gut, and breath. This is true embodiment, not the superficial kind, but the kind that rewires your nervous system and clears the haze from your perceptions. The divine is not only in the heavens or the texts, it resides within your blood, bones, and breath. You don't have to seek it outside yourself. You just need to cleanse the vessel that it has been trying to navigate through all along. Your breath is not merely air, it's a code. Each inhale is an invitation, and every exhale represents a release. It's the most overlooked element in the spiritual arsenal because it's so obvious, so ever-present, yet incredibly powerful. While society teaches you to seek answers externally, your breath has ceaselessly held the key to your freedom. You simply forgot how to access it. You breathe on autopilot, yet you were never designed to breathe in a mindless manner. The ancient cultures recognized this truth. They established comprehensive practices centered around purposeful breathwork, not solely for relaxation, but for profound transformation. In Vedic teachings, breath is prana, the essence of life, serving as the link between the tangible and the ethereal. Taoist alchemy describes it as the circulation of qi, stimulating the body's internal alchemy. Within Hermetic tradition, breath reflects the spirit that animates physical matter. Every mystical path from Egypt to the Himalayas understood that mastering your breath allows you to master your state of consciousness. And when you master your consciousness, you can reconnect with your true essence. Yet the contemporary world detaches you from this. Rapid living, constant stress, and shallow breathing all constrict your life force. Most individuals go through their days breathing from their upper chest, failing to fully expand their lungs and activate the complete capabilities of their energetic systems. The outcome extends beyond mere tension. It results in a closed circuit, a shorted energy body. You find yourself enveloped in a haze, unable to reach the clarity that's always just a few deep breaths away. This is because breath does more than move oxygen. It moves energy. Your body is not just physical, it's a vibrational field encompassing chakras, nadis, meridians, and auric layers. These concepts aren't mere New Age fantasies. They are maps of your energetic structure. They illustrate how life force flows within you and where it may become stagnant. Trauma, fear, and repressed emotions don't simply dissipate. They settle in your energy body like static in a channel. If energy cannot flow freely, neither can your awareness. You might believe that you're simply fatigued, anxious, or hindered. Yet frequently, it's an energetic blockage yearning to be released. This is where breath transforms into a remedy. When practiced with purpose, rhythm, and mindfulness, conscious breathing clears the pathways. You might start to sense warmth, tingling, an emotional release, and heightened awareness. This occurs not due to an external catalyst, but because an internal flow is finally permitted. You're not adding anything new. You're eliminating what was never meant to remain. As the pathways begin to open, something primal awakens. The latent intelligence at the base of your spine, referred to as Kundalini by yogis, begins to ascend. This isn't mere metaphor. It's a vibrant electric force. It embodies the authentic power of your inner divinity coming to life, and it requires no permission, only space, breath, and your active participation with the inherent tools that have always been accessible to you. There's no need for elaborate rituals or external guides to embark on this journey. What you need is presence, patience, and the bravery to feel deeply, because genuine breathwork isn't always euphoric. It may bring forth everything your system conditioned you to suppress: sorrow, anger, joy, truth. Yet amidst all this, something profound rises to the surface. A subtle, undeniable awareness that you are not merely surviving, but here to fully experience life from your essence rather than your conditioning. This is the sacred nature of breath. It transcends mere biological necessity. It's a spiritual approach, a direct, portable, and equitable pathway back to recognizing the divine within you. It demands no belief, no intermediaries, no expenses, only awareness. The system wishes to obscure this realization, for once you grasp it, you become your own healer, teacher, and the source of your liberation. If you aim to release the divine within you, commence here. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale slowly. Repeat this process again and again, not as a mere technique, but as a recognition. You were never disconnected. You were merely holding your breath. There's no requirement for a theatrical hypnotism to experience a trance. You're already living in one. Many individuals navigate through their lives like performers who've forgotten their roles, caught in routines so well practiced they seem authentic. Wake, scroll, consume, react, sleep, and then do it all over again. It's more than a habit, it's conditioning, not imposed through force but rather through repetition. The most perilous aspect, it masquerades as ordinary, as benign, as the norm. You believe you're leading your life, but in reality, you're following a script that isn't yours. Culture acts as the medium for this conditioning. Every custom, every holiday, every routine we partake in, they're not as spontaneous as they appear. They were crafted by someone with intent. Take a moment to look closer. That school bell you heard daily wasn't merely a signal for time, it was classical conditioning at work. When Pavlov rang his bell, the dogs salivated. When the system rang its bell, you moved, not by choice, but by training. And this conditioning didn't end once you graduated, it merely transformed. Your alarm clock, the ping of your emails, the notifications from social media, they're all designed to keep you focused externally while remaining internally vacant. You find yourself perpetually reacting, never wholly present. That's by design, not coincidence. The more distracted you are, the less you question. As you feel more rushed, you become less inclined to pause and reflect. Is any of this truly mine? Consider holidays, intended celebrations of life, love, and family that have morphed into rituals of debt, excess, pressure, and anxiety. You're pushed to attend, spend, and demonstrate joy. If you don't comply, you become the outsider, the dissenter, the issue. Observe the structure of it all. Christmas becomes consumerism masquerading as generosity. Valentine's Day, packages conditional love for sale. Halloween transforms into a festival of disguises. Yet the greatest disguise is feigning that any of these traditions retains a sense of the sacred. These aren't true celebrations. They are distractions disguised as rituals. Repetitive rituals that tie you to the script. Purchase, conform, belong, pose for the picture, share it, check for likes, and label it a life. This isn't about criticizing participation, it's about recognizing it clearly, because once you become aware of the programming, it no longer has the same hypnotic effect on you. You can still engage, but from a standpoint of awareness, not on autopilot. And that's the shift that the system fears the most. Not opposition, not defiance, but simply stepping away from the trance. When you cease performing for unseen critics, when you stop pursuing approval through the very rituals that deplete your spirit, you reclaim something that cannot be commodified. Presence. Even language itself is part of the trance. Statements such as, "That's just the way it is," or "You've got to be practical," are not observations, they're incantations, small agreements that tether you to limitations. Every time you echo them, you reinforce the cage, rendering it invisible and thus inescapable unless you start listening, not just to others, but to your own spoken words. Are they genuinely yours, or were they inherited from individuals who never questioned them either? And let's discuss the corporate customs, the morning briefings, the KPIs, the relentless hustle culture that falsely glorifies burnout as an achievement. These are not routes to purpose. They are loops of distraction aimed at keeping you exhausted enough to comply, yet functional enough to persist. You're not thriving in this environment, you're merely surviving it. They'll keep it this way as long as you confuse structure with meaning, routine with freedom, and busyness with value. Yet underneath the clamor, there remains a signal, a nuanced vibration within your awareness that something feels wrong. That this isn't how life was meant to be, that perhaps you're living within someone else's conception of reality. That whisper is not a figment of your imagination. It's your intellect, your higher essence, your divine self tapping against the inner walls, urging you to observe, to take a moment, to disrupt the rhythm just enough to recall who you truly were before the narrative was imposed on you. The illusion works only when you are unaware that it's an illusion. Furthermore, society retains its influence over you only when you accept it as your own. Yet, it isn't. It was given to you, promoted to you, ingrained in you. The moment you cease to accept it without questioning is when you begin to create something new, something authentic, something that wells up from within rather than from routine. You're not required to flee the world. You simply need to awaken within it. Awakened living is different from merely having an awakening. Many individuals fail to recognize this. They pursue peak experiences, fleeting moments of clarity, sudden insights, the rush of universal energy, only to revert back to their old way of being, as if they never experienced those revelations. However, awakening is intended to be a sustained state, not just a temporary visit. It's about becoming, not just experiencing. When you grasp an insight without weaving it into your life, all you have done is accumulate another spiritual trinket. True integration is the real challenge. Can you sustain the awareness fostered in meditation during a heated discussion? Can you remain anchored in the present when the world around you demands your attention, your ego, your fears? Can you express your inner divinity, not solely in moments of comfort, but when it's inconvenient, discomforting, or even perilous? That's where many halt, precisely at the point where embodiment begins. Living from your divine essence requires breaking every pact you made while in slumber. It involves letting go of personas that garnered you validation. It entails releasing ambitions that emerged from insecurity. It requires traversing your life with a degree of self-accountability that the ego recoils from. The divinity within you shuns status games. It seeks no applause. It doesn't quantify worth based on likes, followers, or financial gain. It's a pure, calm, and unwavering presence. Either it fuels your choices or it gets hidden beneath them. The world doesn't require more enlightened concepts. It needs more enlightened individuals who engage differently in their relationships, in their careers, and in their everyday choices. Not in a way that's for show, but in a grounded, steady manner that emanates truth. When you truly embody your divinity, there is no need for proclamation. It is sensed. You enter a space, and your presence does the talking, not because you're unique, but due to your alignment. There are no facades, no performances, just a harmonious existence. Just the essence of someone who has recognized their true self and chosen to live accordingly. This is where transformation starts to occur, not through external affirmation, but through an internal upheaval. You will no longer accept what drains your energy. You will no longer shrink to fit within spaces that implore you to tone down your brilliance. You will no longer find comfort in silence. Instead, you will live boldly. You will communicate with conviction. You will act with intention. And you will become a reflection, unsettling for some, freeing for others. Because your embodiment serves as a reminder to others of what they have neglected within themselves. This is not about achieving perfection, it's about authenticity. The ego seeks to seem enlightened. The soul merely wants to be liberated. And liberation may not always appear elegant. At times it can be chaotic. At times it can be uncomfortable. It may involve difficult discussions, making unpopular choices, or standing firm in your own truth. However, when you embrace embodiment, you cease to relinquish your integrity to others. You stop waiting for approval. You stop neglecting yourself for the sake of comfort. This is the most profound form of rebellion in an illusory world. It's about existing as your raw, unrefined, divine self, not confined to private moments or safe havens, but in all spaces. The system doesn't dread your theories, it fears your lived reality. It fears the individual who not only understands their divinity, but embodies it daily through their words, their actions, and their very presence. You don't require another moment of spiritual elevation. What you truly need is a spiritual backbone, one that upholds you as your previous life begins to crumble, one that navigates you through the chaos when the external noise intensifies, one that reminds you of your true essence even when the world tries to make you forget. This backbone is crafted through decision, through practice, through being present. This embodies what it means to connect with the divine within. Not one day, not someday, but right now. Each awakening journey contains a point where you cease your quest, not due to defeat, but because you've realized that nothing is lacking, that what you were pursuing, the truth you longed to grasp, the version of yourself you awaited to become, has been here all along. It's not hidden in some far-off realm or obscure philosophy, but beneath every distraction, every falsehood, every layer of conditioning you've been taught to perceive as reality. Your divinity was never lost. You just stopped searching in the place where it resides. This is the ultimate recollection. The moment the seeker fades away, the instance the divine within shifts from whispering to speaking, not in thunder or flames or grand displays, but in tranquility, in presence, in the subtle awareness that you are the consciousness behind it all, the observer behind your thoughts, the space in which everything arises and fades away. You are never a role, an occupation, a body, or a narrative. You have always been and will always be the boundless awareness experiencing life through a temporary vessel. And in this realization, something remarkable takes place. You cease to feel the need to combat. You stop trying to persuade. You no longer struggle with structures that only held sway because you agreed to forget. The instant you retract that agreement, the illusion begins to fracture. Not just externally, but internally as well. Your fears may not disappear, but they lose their control. Your doubts might linger, yet they no longer define who you are. Your history remains unchanged, but it ceases to possess you. You become clear within the dream. This has always been just that, a dream. A captivating, immersive, stunning, daunting, sacred dream. Not intended for escape, but for awakening within. And now, you have awakened. Not in a superficial spiritual aesthetic way, but in the lived, moment-to-moment awareness that you are not merely a product of your circumstances. You are the one in whom those circumstances unfold. From that vantage point, you don't simply react to the world. You respond as the world itself. The divine doesn't observe from a distance. It experiences life through you. So, what comes next? You live, but not as you did before. You no longer play roles for validation. You don't perform for recognition. You don't diminish yourself for the sake of safety. You exist as truth incarnate, moment after moment. You cultivate relationships that honor your growth. You choose nourishment that supports your clarity. You articulate words that resonate with your essence. You guard your energy as though it's sacred because it truly is. You create, you rest, you connect, you recall, you cease waiting, for no savior is on the way. There's no forthcoming event, no guru, no finish line that will gift you your freedom. You already are what you seek. You already possess what you have been pursuing, and the only barrier between you and that reality is the illusion that there is still more to achieve. There isn't. There is only more to let go of. When you embrace this way of living, others will sense it, not because you are louder, but because you are clearer. Your presence will articulate a language most have forgotten. Some will shy away from it as your light disrupts the comfort of their darkness. Others will be irresistibly drawn to it, not knowing why. But this will not matter, for you are not here to persuade. You are here to simply be. That is the gift. That is the mission. That is the essence of embodiment. And if you haven't yet joined Insights Academy, this is your moment. You are not only missing out on profound insights, but also on the chance to quicken your remembrance. The complimentary copy of the Kabbalion is still accessible, but not for long. You were never destined to be small. You were never destined to be silent. You were never destined to lead a life of subdued wonder and managed obedience. You were made to be electric, untamed, infinite. You were meant to traverse this earth as a living embodiment of the source itself. This isn't merely metaphor. This is your truth. No system, no label, no degree of conditioning can alter it. The divine within you has always awaited recognition, and you have now remembered. If this video resonates with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. I understood it.